Hello and welcome back to another episode of Nick Tiffany's Movie Reviews, coming at you online and in print format at nicktiffany.com, in audio format wherever you get your podcasts, and even in video on YouTube and all those other good social media places. Today we are talking Boy Kills World, which every time I saw a trailer for this or every time I saw something about it, I just assumed this was probably based off of a graphic novel. Looks either video game-esque in terms of some of the fantasy action combat, but I don't know. I was sure that it had to be based on something. And while it technically is not based on any original work, you can totally feel a lot of the influences from popular culture, from certain video games, Mortal Kombat. We're talking very action heavy, but also very like wildly violent. Um, it just, it totally is a film that has caught me by surprise. And you just to go into a brief bit before the movie, I had planned originally to go see Civil War for a second time, taking a buddy of mine, going and seeing an IMAX. And we kind of pulled an audible at the last minute because we had an opportunity to watch this film. And so I was like, well, we could go out, we could watch Civil War, which we could probably go see again, but we'll check out Boy Kills World early. I definitely was intrigued by it. So we went and we watched this movie, and it just had the most surprising and awesome time watching it. And I don't know if it was an expectation thing where, like, in my head I was ready to watch Civil War and get rocked by what was going to take place again there, and then it was like, no, we're going to go move over to something more in the vein of an action comedy. I don't know. I just had a freaking awesome time with this movie. And it's one of those that I came away from it feeling like it's not critic proof. It's not like you can't critique it. And, there's certain things that, while it does try to do a lot and certainly pulls from a lot of different influences, it doesn't do all of them nearly as well as the original things do. But I don't know. I'm like, I had such a fun time watching this movie. And at the end of the day, I feel like that's most of what I hope to get out of a film when I go to see it. I don't want to go to a movie and review it and pick it apart. I'm like, I always want what I go see to at least be interesting or present something new to me. And so there was a lot new here for sure. The way that the film kind of starts, you've got a young boy who really is just called Boy. This is the Bill Skarsgard character. There's some sort of event, kind of like the Hunger Games. They call it the culling, each year. We're going to execute some people just so we can keep everybody in line, So at one point in time, when he was younger, this boy lost his entire family, his mother and his sister, due to this horrific rule in the town. And so he's essentially trained in the woods by a shaman to become a tool of destruction. He'd lost his hearing in the incident. He was unable to speak after the event as well. And so the other kind of side to this is you've got H. John Benjamin, who many of you may know as Archer or Bob from Bob's Burgers. Very iconic voice, very dry. I'm not great at it. I don't watch enough of his stuff to be good at that impression. But you've got H. John Benjamin kind of as the voice of this character's head, because the last thing the boy remembered when he was younger was this video game. And in that arcade game was this voice that he's like, you know what? That's going to be my voice from now on. So even though we see Bill Skarsgard's character, we're hearing the voice and the thoughts through H. John Benjamin's voice. So already I thought, okay, that's kind of unique as well, because Bill Skarsgard, he's a great actor. We're talking Pennywise here, not especially after Barbarian. I was like, okay, I don't know what's going to happen with this guy now. But, using the other voice, very curious move. I wasn't certain how I felt about it at first, but as the film goes on, especially, it's super funny and it works really well, kind of in conjunction with how Skarsgård moves his head, how he kind of reacts to things. And so, yeah, he spends his life out in the woods becoming a tool of destruction, taking his childhood fantasies, ingesting mushrooms and magical whatever out there, and just becoming relentless. And so essentially he's got to go in. He wants to kill Famke Janssen's kind of, she's not quite a President Snow, but something akin to that. Whoever this horrible, awful woman is who's responsible for this culling. So he's going to go in and he's going to kill everybody, at least anybody who gets in his way. And that's when the carnage starts taking place. And I'm not usually one who loves a lot of gore. For horror movies, I definitely stay away from like the gore heavy stuff. I'm far more of the thriller, give me something psychological. So when it comes to action, sometimes having just watched Monkey Man again, watching a bunch of different stuff where, it's bloody, it's in your face, but it's wild. You're watching someone grab a knife with their teeth to push it further into another person's body. That's like just scratching the surface of what we're talking about here with Boy Kills World. There's truly Mortal Kombat level fatality type stuff where it's like, I cannot believe I just saw that happen. It was just gross, but wild, incredibly effective, obviously. It just really unique. Because a lot of video games don't always translate well to the screen. I don't know what it is about adapting them. I feel like obviously the fantasy ones are a little bit harder. Action games, though, shouldn't be too hard. We've got enough would-be Call of Duty, Metal Gear Solid, spy type stuff, whatever. But something like a Mortal Kombat in real life, it's brutal. But injecting some of that humor with Skarsgård's inability to speak, only using his eyes, which again are Pennywise eyes, they're iconic. So, he's really good at conveying anything that he's feeling through those eyes. Then you get H. John Benjamin's voice kind of making his little commentary as it goes. It just very funny. Watching and listening to him trying to like read lips and his interpretation of some of that, gold. Totally funny. I just like, I don't know. I don't want to say too much without spoiling this film because it goes a lot of places that I didn't totally expect it to. Keeps you on the edge of your seat enough and kind of keeps you guessing enough with different things happening in the story. Obviously his lack of speaking leaves, and his lack of interpretation sometimes kind of gives you a little bit maybe of the unreliable narrator or the unreliable character story type deal. But I had a blast with this movie. It's something that you should go into as cold as you can. Just know that there's going to be some uber violence and some blood and just some wild things and wild ways to kill people that maybe you've never seen before. But because of that, and for a multitude of reasons, this film was great. I had such a fun time with it. Totally caught me off guard in the best possible way. And I tell you, that's just the best thing you really can ask for when you go to the movies. So check this film out. It's playing in, I believe, all wide markets now. It's a freaking blast. Take your friends. You're going to want to talk about it too. It's one where after you see it, you can't not go around and be like, did you see what happened to that guy? How he freaking flipped him over and dropped what? I want to talk about it. But I'll let you guys watch the movie. You comment. You let me know what stood out to you, what was really inspiring in some ways, and what was really inventive in others. Thanks again for tuning in, you guys. You can find all of our content at NT Movie Reviews on all social media networks, podcast platforms, and even on YouTube. You can also find us on Reels, TikTok, Shorts, pretty much anywhere that is social media, you can find us. We've got a lot of great stuff coming out in the next month. We've got Fall Guy, we've got Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Seattle International Film Festival coverage coming up, so stay tuned. There's going to be a lot I'm excited to talk about. And as always, thanks for listening. Have a great night, y'all.